o'clock. Am I not coming on? Good evening. There we go. Given the time is now 7 o'clock, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Merrimack Planning Board for the date May 3rd, 2022. Let me remind everybody before we start that once you speak, please introduce yourself and make sure your microphone is on. Our next scheduled meeting is for May 17th, 2022 at 7 p.m. here in the Matthew Thornton Room. And that out of the way, Casey, for the Planning and Zoning Administrators Report.
I have nothing for you tonight.
Nothing tonight. Thank you very much. Given that tonight is our annual meeting, we do have the election of officers and review of rules and procedure. The first thing we can hit, Casey, if you want to just give some of the people, because I know some people weren't here when we had these discussions.
Yeah, so staff has made some proposed amendments to your rules of procedure. We are recommending that the board adopts a consent agenda. The purpose of this is to make it easier for the board to vote on items that generally don't require any sort of discussion. So, for example, regional impact determinations, extensions for projects, and voting on maintenance bonds. So this would consolidate it all into one agenda item that you can approve of one single vote.
Also move that we do that.
Motion made to accept those changes by Ms. Christensen. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Von Schoen. Do I have any further discussion? Any questions? All in favor of the change, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Yes,
Oh, wait,
you're, I'm sorry, you're a full member, right?
she's an alternate.
Ugh. I apologize, let's circle back, and I think Nelson, I
You
skipped
need to
you as
appoint
well.
you need to appoint a full member.
That's right, Nelson, I'm gonna appoint you a full member for Neil.
Okay.
And Bob?
And yes, Maureen, I'll put you in for Chairman Bob. I apologize, I thought you were a full member. And Nelson, I'm so used to you voting as a full member at this point, I just totally put it out of my mind, I apologize.
So yes, you can vote.
Yes. So with that being, we still have a motion made by Ms. Christensen, seconded by Ms. Von Schoen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining. That's 7-0-0 to accept those changes.
5-0.
3, 6, 7, 0.
7, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Never mind, I'll be quiet.
Next on the agenda is the election of officers. This is for chair and vice chair. Ms. Christensen.
I will move that we appoint, or we elect Bob Best as chair and Paul as vice chair.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made to re-elect Mr. Best as chair and myself as vice chair, seconded by Mr. Disco. Does anybody have any questions or any other names they'd like to put forward? Seeing none, all in favor of those two, since the two will just vote on them together, say aye.
Aye?
All opposed? All abstaining? Aye. That goes down as 6-0.
You can vote for yourself.
1, absolutely not. All right. Did you get all that, Casey? Okay. That should be all we have for the annual meeting of election of officers and rules of procedure. What we have next on the agenda is Merrimack Smiles, the applicant. This is a continued review for acceptance and consideration of final approval for a site plan to raise an existing building and construct a 4,500 square foot dental office. The parcel is located at 75 DW Highway in the I-1 Industrial and Aquifer Conservation Districts, Tax Map 2D, Lot 028, case number Planning Board 2022-16. This item is continued from the April 5th meeting, but we have yet to hear a presentation. Casey, while the applicant's getting set up, do you have anything to add about this?
Like Paul said, this project was last on your agenda on April 5th. They requested a continuance so that peer review would have more time to put together a letter and so that they could submit a traffic impact analysis along with a few other items. They have since submitted those items and we have received that peer review letter.
Thank you, Casey. The applicants could please introduce themselves and tell us what you have.
Jim Hanley, Civil Design Consultants.
Ken File, architect with LYF Architects.
Okay, I'm good to go?
Yes, please.
Okay, great.
Floor is yours.
Sure. So, again, Jim Hanley with Civil Design Consultants, and we're here to discuss 75 Daniel Webster Highway tonight. Essentially, what the project consists of is raising the existing restaurant, the construction of a 4,500 square foot dentist's office. And tonight, what I want to do is kind of give you a brief understanding of the existing conditions, what we are proposing on site to replace those existing conditions, and kind of tell you where we are in the process right now between locally and then throughout the state as well. So we're here in front of you for a site plan review. The applicant is Mary Mac Smiles. Mary Mac Smiles also has another office in town. They have been in town. The owners of Mary Mac Smiles live in town here and are quite active in the community. 75 Daniel Webster Highway is about a mile and a half north of the Route 3 interchange and about a half a mile south of Manchester Road, just to give you a sense of where it is. It's in the I-1 zoning ordinance as well as within the Aquifer Conservation District as well. The site is relatively small. It's only about an acre and a half, acre 0.6, and we have about 200 feet of frontage along Daniel Webster Highway. Currently, there's a 2,200 square foot plus or minus wood-framed one-story building, which is a restaurant on site. There's a parking area, 2 driveways, parking for plus or minus 30 vehicles. There's also some vehicle storage in the back of the property as well. There's about a half an acre of pavement and about 4/10 of an acre of hard pan. So more or less, we have about an acre of fairly impervious cover type. Served by municipal water and sewer. And essentially, it grades from Daniel Webster Highway at an elevation of 168, give or take, back about 200 feet to a grade of 164, and then it drops off more steeply down about 144, all the way down to the north side of the property. Soils on site are pretty good. We dug test pits out there. We have a sandy loam and a sandy material, and they receive ground rainwater and infiltrate that, recharge that pretty well. So what are we proposing to do? 4,550 square foot dentist office. We're proposing 41 parking spaces. Where 21 are required, but the business has been in place for a while. They have a sense for how much parking they needed versus the size of the building that they're using. So that's why we're coming in with a little bit more parking than is typically required in the zoning ordinance. Parking area is about 15,000 square feet, give or take, and very gentle, slight grades of plus or minus 2%. Vertical granite curbing will be wrapped around the entire site. We have site landscaping included in the design plans as well as site lighting. Utilities on site are, again, we're going to maintain the existing services, the water and sewer municipal services. We are going to relay these. The building requires a fire suppression line, so we're going to bring a 4-inch line in off of Daniel Webster Highway and connect that to the building. And then we're going to maintain the existing sewer service, which actually goes out to if you're looking at the plan, the abutter to the right or the southeast, I guess, is what it would be. Obviously, private electric, telephone, cable, and gas on site there. Drainage is very, very straightforward. We actually have a very, very minor increase of about 0.05 of an acre of impervious surface. And that's if we include the area that they're parking vehicles on now as not being impervious. So we don't really have much of an impact on stormwater. We have overland flow essentially from Daniel Webster out to the back. It all grades back at a very mild slope of about 2%. Because it's not too big of a site, we don't need to run catch basins, manholes, closed drainage system. We can just kind of let it sheet off the parking lot. That goes into an infiltration basin that's located about 10 feet off the back of the parking area. And that basin has been designed to comply with DES standards. And we address peak discharge, water quality, and recharge requirements with that one pond. Improvements beyond the site or outside of our property include what we're doing within the right-of-way. If you've been to the site, you'll realize there's actually two separate driveways that go into Daniel Webster Highway. We will be removing one of those driveways. So what we'll do is, we'll actually be removing both of them and replacing them with one. And the one that we replace will have concrete sidewalks all the way out to replace the far limits of the two driveways, and then handicap accessible ramps as well. Traffic, we did do a traffic memorandum. We essentially have about 100 less average daily trips, and there's slight increases in the peak weekday trips, but we have less traffic generated from this use than what is out there right now. We're asking for I think it's 4 individual waivers
Yep.
that are in your package there too.
Yep.
And we can go through those if you'd like, or I could kind of go to where we stand right now.
You can go through the waivers now.
Okay, so, the waivers, there's 4 individual waivers, and the first one is to section 3.11.d. A waiver is requested to allow no loading spaces in the proposed parking area. Obviously, you require it in your site plan review regulations, but the use doesn't require it. So the parking lot has been laid out to accommodate an emergency vehicle, so the fire truck. So certainly any packages that they get, which would come in a UPS van or a FedEx van, that's really the size that we need, would have ample ability to pull in, turn around, and navigate it acceptably. Section 3.11I1, a waiver is requested to allow no interior parking lot landscaping. And I'm just going to approach the board here so you can kind of see.
There is, there's a microphone right now.
Okay. That's good. Yep, okay. So you can see the configuration, because the parking lot is relatively small, we only have 40 parking spaces here. We just don't have the opportunity to provide interior landscaping. The only way that I can see that we could do that is if we provided more parking, which I think would defeat the logic behind the request. So that's the second waiver that we're requesting. The third is a waiver is requested from the minimum amount of shade trees along the parking lot perimeter. And again,
They're already there.
thank you, yep, they're already there. We've gone through some pains to try to avoid any additional cutting. We have a little bit right here, just for the building and for grading out this area here, but for the most part, we're gonna have a natural buffer here. We're gonna maintain a natural buffer basically all around the development. And the final waiver is a waiver to not show existing trees greater than 15 inches in diameter, and I guess it would be the same thing there. It's, we're doing everything we can to minimize any cutting that we have on the site. With that said, I'll just kind of walk you through the chronology of where we are and what we've done. We submitted for ZBA on March 8th, Planning Board on March 15th, DOT on March 28th. On the 30th of March, we attended a zoning board of appeals hearing and got the use variance that's required for this use. April 1st, we received a letter documenting town staff comments. On the 4th of April, we met with Conservation. They had 4 minor comments that we take no exception with, and we can roll into the final set of plans. On the 4th, we also received the review letter from your consultant. That allowed us basically to address all the comments that we had for the initial submission. And on the 15th, we prepared and resubmitted revision number 1 to the plan set. And then on the 29th of April, we received the planning memo recommendations. And again, we take no exceptions with any of the suggestions within the memo. And with that being said, that's kind of the overview of the site. Ken is here if you have questions regarding the building. I'll go from there.
All right. And I just,
Yeah, flip those around. Yeah.
we designed actually a very straightforward, simple building. It's a one-story building with a basement. It's a contemporary design. We actually have, it's been oriented to take into account solar orientation as well, and we have a raised entry location and waiting area with a clear story that we've worked with the owner and to reflect their values and what their brand is looking to be for their practice. They're growing and expanding, and this will accommodate their needs. Again, durable materials, we're looking to be environmentally sustainable in how we design the building as we go to construction documents. We've shown drawings for the two signs. One
Hang on a
here
minute.
and one here.
Mr. Fowler, I want to just make sure your mic is
Yeah,
on.
I shut it off, sorry, Ken.
Okay,
There you go.
all right, now I'm back.
There you go.
Started to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
If you could, for those.
Absolutely, no worries. We designed a very simple, straightforward building. It's a one-story building with a basement. And we designed it with a contemporary look and feel that reflects the values and branding that our client is looking for as they expand their business here in Merrimack. We have a raised entry and lobby space that has a clear story that gives a nice dramatic feel as one enters the building. We have a separate staff entrance off to the side, and again, a large amount of glass facing south into the entry waiting area. And each of the treatment and rooms have windows. So again, very straightforward. We're just over 20 feet on the upper roof.
Thank you.
Very straightforward. Thank you.
Is that it?
I think we're good, yeah.
Okay. Board members, as you know, we have yet to accept this application as complete. If you'd like to tackle that first, or if anybody has
I
any
move we
questions.
accept the application as substantially complete with the board's recommendations.
I have a motion made by Ms. Christensen, seconded by Ms. Healy. Any further discussion regarding its completeness? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, all abstaining, that's 700 to mark this application as complete, Casey.
And I will secondly suggest we approve the 4 waivers that have been requested based on the strict conformance circumstances relative to the site plan or condition of the land in such site plan indicate that the waiver will properly carry out the spirit and intent of the regulations.
I have current motion made by Ms. Christensen regarding all 4 waivers. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Disco to approve all 4 waivers at once. Do we have any questions, any discussion? Ms. Healy, please.
Yeah, a question regarding the parking spaces and the driveway. You're keeping the driveway on the south side of the building, which is essentially where it is now, theoretically. Do you have enough room to get 2 emergency vehicles in there, if there were cars parked along there? Because it's not unheard of that a patient will crash if under anesthesia, and they have to call the ambulance. And here in Merrimack, all of our EMTs and fire department personnel overlap each other on the vehicles. So it's not unusual you'll get an ambulance and a ladder truck with you. Can you get those in the driveway?
Yeah, I'm just gonna approach the,
Mike?
And Casey while he finds his sheet. Did we have any substantial comments by Captain Manueli or anybody else at the fire department?
So when the fire marshal made his review, he does have a statement that he does feel that there is adequate access to this building.
Thank you.
That answers that.
Can you just say that again? I missed.
Yeah, no problem. So the fire marshal's review of this project does
Yeah.
state that he feels that the building has adequate access.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right, so that's what I initially was gonna say, is that we have worked with the fire department, and they have reviewed the plan, and they feel that it's adequate. But just to give you a sense here, 24 feet gives you plenty of room to get the biggest piece of equipment that they have, which is what we designed this along. That piece of equipment is only gonna be 8 feet wide. Now it swings pretty significantly here, so there always could be a pinch point here or there, but to get two pieces of equipment in and out of there, we certainly have plenty of room.
Yeah, they would never pull the ladder out
Right.
if the ladder truck happened to be there. It's just to be able to get it in off of the DW
Yep.
and into the driveway alongside of wherever the ambulance might also park as well, so.
Yep.
Because being a former EMT, I have had those moments when you can't get the vehicle in there.
Right. Okay.
Is that all, Ms. Healy? No problem. Any other questions, Mr. Disco?
Yeah, I have a few questions. With regard to the driveway entrance, that is going to need state approval. You are aware of that, and I presume you're proceeding with it.
Yeah, and I'm just stepping away from the microphone so I don't get feedback, but DOT application has been filed. We got initial comments last week, which were minor adjustments to the alignment. You'll notice on sheet C4, there's an existing catch basin in this location right here. They've asked us to just shift the driveway slightly. Their term was scooch. The driveway slightly here.
I understand scooch.
Yeah, it's a technical term, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're working with them, but they only had 3 very minor comments. We're aware of the obligation, and we're working towards getting the permit.
Okay, thank you. A few
Please,
more
continue.
questions. Presently, the present owner has an agreement with a landscaper to do some parking on this site.
Yes.
I presume from your picture that that's all gone away with your new use.
Yes, I don't want to speak for the owner, but I believe that's the case, is that moving forward, once the new use comes in and the site is developed, that agreement will no longer be,
It's not part of this approval.
correct, yep.
Okay.
Excuse me. Although, based on what you have provided for parking, if you wanted to allow that, you have sufficient parking based on our regulations to allow that if you wanted.
Well,
That's up to
I'm
them.
not giving any approval for that because I know they have big vehicles and there's
Yep.
conflict of movements and that sort of thing. So there's no additional parking other than what they want for this site. I
Correct.
just wanted to clarify that for the record. Thank you. We mentioned earlier that we had held up for a traffic review
Mhm,
by our consultant.
mhm.
And what were the results of those? I didn't hear any results from,
Nelson? Speak into your mic.
That overall, there will be less traffic, but during peak hours, there'll be more cars. That was my basic understanding.
Yeah, so over the course of a day, we'll actually have 100 less daily trips in and out of the site. But when we look at the peaks, we have slight increases in those peaks. 10 additional weekday AM peaks and 4 additional PM weekday peaks on the exit. So there's some minor changes, but all in all, we have 100 less vehicles per day that we anticipate using the driveway.
and our consultant is okay with this, Casey? Yeah. Okay, thank you. I had one other minor thing. Oh, yeah, was there's a mention of some white ash trees being one of the major trees around your parking lot, which
Correct, yep,
is a good idea.
yep.
Except the white ash is subject to a blight these days, as I understand it. They're all dying off
Okay.
in the state. And is there an alternate, a substitute for that, or some?
So I don't think we're proposing an alternate, and I didn't design the landscaping. We had a landscape architect help us out with this. But we'd certainly, if there was an alternate that you'd like to see us carry that could be conditioned into it, we'd agree with that.
I guess I'd rather not pick a tree myself, although I have
Yeah,
some favorites. But I would say, I would suggest that you provide for an alternate.
Okay,
Such a substantial shade tree is what you want there. And the ash is a perfect one for that, but they're dying left and right.
I'm not sure we need to condition for that.
We just put it as an alternate, allowable alternate on the plan, is what I'm
Allowable
asking.
but not conditioned on.
Not-
I don't think we need to condition for somebody providing for an alternate tree that may or may not be part of the blight.
Well, I just wanted to give them the freedom to do it.
Yep.
that's fine, yeah.
A note is sufficient, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman,
That's
thank
it,
you.
Mr.
Oh, I
Disco.
did have one more question. When you started your talk, you mentioned a DDA, and I don't know what that is. Do you remember it?
I think you were going through the timeline of what you did.
Yeah, when you were going through the timeline.
Oh, I'm sorry, ZBA.
Oh, ZBA,
Board of Appeals, yeah.
sorry. Okay, thank you.
Is that all, Mr. Disco?
That's all from me, thank you.
Thank you. We do have a pending and seconded motion on the floor, if there's any further discussion. This motion, just to remind you, is to approve all 4 waivers at once.
Oh, okay,
Are you okay with that, Mr. Disco?
I guess I am, thank you.
Okay. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All abstaining? That's 700 to approve all 4 waivers. Do we have any other questions for the applicant? I had one for Casey, as long as I asked about the fire department. Did DPW have any significant comments on this either?
DPW comments came in just today, or maybe that was yesterday, so they're not in the packets that you received. But they were mostly sewer related, just minor comments.
Okay.
Just to clarify, we did receive those. We have no, we'll include the recommendations. Most of it is language or notes that we need to add to the plan, so we'll take care of that.
Thank you, Mr. Hanley. Okay, board members, waivers are approved, and we do have Ms. Christensen.
I move we grant conditional final approval.
Public hearing.
Oh, yes,
that's
sorry. Yes,
I'll know,
I know, but.
I'll now call
but you gotta
open
do it.
the public hearing. The time is 7:28. If there's any members of the public that wish to step forward and speak on this issue, please do so now.
Thank you.
Seeing none, I'll now close the public hearing, and the time is 7:29. Now, board members, Ms. Christensen.
I will recommend that we grant conditional final approval to the application with the precedent conditions to be fulfilled within 6 months based on the staff memo.
I have a motion made by Ms. Christensen. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Who was that?
I think that's Barbara.
Ms. Healy, I'll give you the second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All abstaining? That's 700 to grant final conditional approval. Thank you, Mr.
Terrific,
Hanley.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Keep smiling.
I have to tell you, the fact that digital equipment is not here anymore, this will go forward, because when they were here, the softball teams used to meet at E.T. Pearl's after their games twice a week. Just a little bit of historical trivia.
is some history. Okay, next agenda item is discussion and possible action regarding other items of concern. Casey, do we have any?
Nope, I have nothing further for the board to discuss tonight.
Nothing further to discuss. That brings up the approval of the minutes from the last meeting of April 19th, 2020.
I move we approve as distributed.
I have a motion made by Ms. Christensen. That was a seconded by Ms. Healy. Do I have any further discussion? None?
No.
All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All abstaining?
Abstain.
That is 601 with Ms. Fonchon abstaining.
I move we adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn made by Ms. Christensen. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Dano.
I got one.
Any further discussion?
Your
All in favor, say aye.
Adjourn to Tomahawk Tavern.
All opposed, all abstaining. That's 700 to adjourn. Casey, board members, thank you very much. Please remember to turn off your microphones.